In this video, we're going to take you through the system tweaks in iThemes security. We're already in the WordPress dashboard and looking at the iThemes security settings, as you can see here. So what you just need to do is move yourself down into the system tweaks area and we can get started. So as it notes, these are some advanced settings that may be utilized to further strengthen your WordPress website security. They definitely block common forms of attacks, but can also block some legitimate, say, plugins and themes that are trying to just get the job done for you. So use these with caution. It's reasonably important that you just enable or disable one setting at a time and just check to make sure your site's still working, because otherwise if you turn on too many at one time, you may have a harder time finding the cause of any problems that arise. So we're going to go through these settings one at a time and just explain what they mean to you, and then we'll leave it up to you to go through and make those changes on your website. So the first setting is about protecting system files. So it just prevents public access from two README files, the wp-config.php file, the install.php file, wp includes, and htaccess as well. Those files have sensitive information about your WordPress website, and I strongly recommend that you have this turned on. The next setting is the ability to turn directory browsing off. So you've probably seen some websites you've gone to and it looks a little bit like you're looking through folders just as you would normally in, say, Explorer on Windows or Finder on a Mac. And that's a feature of the web server, and you can choose to disable this if you'd like. Again, I think this is a very worthwhile feature to disable because it can make it really easy for people to find things on your website that maybe they shouldn't be able to. Then you can choose to filter out request methods. So any hits that are coming through with track delete or traces their request methods will be blocked. It can be useful to turn this on, but it may cause some problems. So it's something you'd want to turn on and then definitely check just to make sure that nothing has been impacted on your website. Then you can also choose to filter out suspicious query strings in the URL. As it notes, they are usually the sign of someone trying to do something suspicious to your website, something that they maybe shouldn't be trying to do. So it can be useful to turn that on, but it might also be one of the ones that's more likely to conflict with a plugin or theme that you're running. It just depends how that plugin or theme is being coded. So, you know, it's one of those things, just like the request methods, that you'd want to turn on and try and just see how it goes. Next, you can choose to filter non-English characters. And that's only going to work when you've got the previous option, suspicious query strings, enabled. And what it does is it just looks for, well, non-English characters in the query string and will filter them accordingly. Of course, if you have a website that is not in English, then it's probably best not to turn this on because it will cause problems for you, definitely. So how useful this is for you will really depend on the language your website's in and what you do with your website. Then we can choose to filter long URL strings. So what it does is it limits the amount of characters that can be sent in a URL. It's pretty handy to turn this on because sometimes hackers try and use long URLs to inject information into your database. So I think that's a very worthwhile feature to turn on, but of course, just turn it on and try and just see how it goes for your website. Because as we discussed earlier, some of these settings are the ones that could potentially cause problems for you. Then we can choose to remove file writing permissions. So what it will do is prevent scripts and users from being able to do any writing to the wp-config and htaccess files. As it notes, it can still be overcome, but it definitely does make your files more secure. So I think it's useful to turn this on. Finally, one of the more useful features in this section is disabling PHP and uploads. So what that will do is prevent PHP files that somehow get uploaded to your uploads directory from being executed. So if someone's uploading something they shouldn't that might give them access to your website or to your server, it'll actually stop them from being able to run those files that they're uploading there. Of course, there's potential that that can be overcome, but this will go a long way in securing your website, and I strongly recommend you turn this on. When you're done making any changes here, click on Save All Changes and then go and check your website and make sure it's still working as you would want it to work. If you have any questions about what we've covered in this video, please feel free to ask in the comments below.